If you're a cross-country ski racer, this is probably the most important video I could encourage you to watch. It's Rotocorking JetStream. This is a super effective technique. It's quick. It's not hard in the ski bases. It's good in a wide variety of conditions, and I've waxed a whole lot of champions using this technique. There are two main rotocorking techniques. I prefer the less popular one, but the first I'll demonstrate is to use very high RPMs and very little pressure and go back and forth. And the second, which I find more effective, is to use lower RPM, use a little bit of pressure downward, and do one good pass from tip to tail. Using this technique, I find I can keep the rotocork flat, which is very important, and I simply can do a better job. Let me demonstrate. The first thing you want to do when waxing JetStream with the block is to rub it on the ski. While the block is more economical, it's also more difficult to get the wax on the ski itself. So just rub as much as you can on the ski. Might take a minute. Once you've accomplished that, then you're ready to use the rotocork. I mentioned before, there are two application methods or two techniques with the rotocork. I'll demonstrate the first, which is more common. In that one, which I don't use, but in that one, you use a high RPM and very little pressure, and you kind of go back and forth. The downside to that is when you go back and forth, you create lines on the base that need to be removed. And I also find that you have less control in terms of how flat the rotocork is. But this is a very common method, and the way this would be finished is to take a nylon polishing brush, to scrub that wax off. I don't use the horsehair. I find it removes too much wax when you rotocork JetStream. And then take your thermal pad and polish it. For the second application method, I should point out I like to use an old drill with low torque and low speed. If you use a newer one with higher torque and higher speed, I recommend getting one that you can change the speed on, not one that's always full blast. I use lower RPMs, and I use a little bit of pressure. Let me show you how I do this. The base barely gets warm. You can see I was able to keep the cork perfectly flat. There are no lines, and I have very good control over exactly what I'm doing to the base. You finish this in the same manner. Take your fluorocarbon, that is JetStream and Helix specific brush, nylon polishing brush, and polish it, and brush that JetStream out. Take your thermal pad and polish it. Rotocorking JetStream is extremely effective. I found it to be substantially faster than ironing JetStream, especially in cold conditions. I definitely recommend you getting a rotocork and getting good at this technique if you're interested in having fast skis.